Hi, I'm Bailey Hirschbeck from Country Critters Farm, and today I'm going to bring you through a couple of the different breeding programs we have going. So I figured I'd start over here since it's a little bit more quiet than over in the main farmyard. But this is our silvo pasture where our cotton patch geese are free-ranged a couple times a week so that they don't overfeed on it. A silvo pasture is a sustainable pasture that's in the woods. There's trees, as you can see, growing all throughout it. And this is one of our goals on the farm, is to be sustainable, and cotton patch geese are great for this. They actually got their name due to their ability to weed cotton fields. Back in before the 1950s, they were actually used in gaggles, which is what they're called, a flock of geese, and they were put out in cotton fields and they would weed the cotton fields. They were also known as the perfect homestead goose due to their ability to supply 25 to 50 eggs in the spring and then some nice meat in the winter months. So they were known as the perfect homestead goose until about the 1950s, when commercial farming started amping up a bit. The industry became more industrialized and they weren't needed anymore. At that point, they actually started to go downhill in popularity, and right now they're considered critically endangered. There's only about 400 left in the entire world, mainly in the US. There is some in Canada, but they're only in the US past that. So we actually have two breeding pairs right now. They're a sex-linked breed, which means that the females are gray and the males are white, with this breed at least. And then we have two others that were born this year or hatched out this year on our farm, so they're going to be kept as a breeding ganders for our flock for future breeding pairs. So I'll take you over there right now and we can look at the geese, and then I'll move on to our next breeding program. So this is our flock of cotton patch geese. As you can see, there's two females in the back there that are gray, and then these four are the males. So the males are white, as I mentioned. Again, two of them are in our breeding program, and then the other two will be once I get two more females for them. This is their goose coop, as I call it. It's actually on skids. I call them skis, but they're 4x4s that are curved up at the ends, so we can hook it up to the tractor and pull it around so that we can rotate them through the foraging system, whether it be in the woods or on the silvo pasture. So our next breeding program I figured I would mention is our Nigerian dwarf goats. So Nigerian dwarfs are pretty popular right now, but they were actually once threatened on the Livestock Conservancy list. They were taken off of that list in 2013 when they started to move more towards the commercial aspect of the breed's ability to milk. However, as this breed has been moving more towards that commercial ability to milk, they are starting to lose some of those heritage traits. They were known as a heritage breed and still are, but they are losing some of those traits which I've seen, such as fertility and parasite and disease resistance is a really big one that I'm trying to focus on in my breeding herd. So we're trying to focus on using less anthelmintics, which are dewormers, and more on their natural ability to defend against these parasites. We do, however, also breed for show, so some of these animals will be in the show ring next year. Obviously there aren't shows this year, but next year hopefully we'll be able to put them in the show ring and promote this breed. I love the breed. They're small, they're great, they're friendly. They're probably my favorites out there. As I mentioned, they're really friendly. This is Corona. I figured I'd mention her since everyone loves her name. So I have no idea how this video is going to go because she might end up pushing me over, but this is Georgie. She's our livestock guardian dog in training. She's only 10 months old and she is pretty big. So she's a breed called the Caracachins. They are fairly new to the US, only being imported about 15 to 16 years ago by Dr. Phil Spunenberg. She is one of the only ones in Connecticut that I know of, but verified the first registered in the state of Connecticut by the American Caracachin Dog Association. So they actually come from Bulgaria, and they're known as the Bulgarian bear dogs. But don't worry, she's not fighting off any bears around here, obviously. But she is protecting against coyotes, raccoons, fishers, foxes, things such as that. And actually, since we've had her, we haven't heard any of those around the property. Her barking when she hears something in the woods is seeming to be a pretty good deterrent. And with all of our little animals that we have running around, between the chickens, ducks, sheep, goats, everything like that, it's good to have someone like Georgie here who can protect against those things. So we can leave our animals out in the summer rather than locking them in. As you can see, we're in the middle of the woods, so they have to get locked up in the summer and throughout the year due to predators. But with her around, we actually have been leaving some of our animals out at night with her around. That way it's not so hot in the barns. So she's definitely proven to be a good asset on the farm. Georgie actually in Bulgaria is a male name, but we gave it to her because it actually means earth worker or farmer. So that's how she got her name, Georgie, and I think she's living up to it pretty good. We also have a few breeding programs with different chickens on the farm. We have 4 different kinds that we breed and one that just kind of hangs out. So we have a couple Americanas, which are blue egg layers or greenish blue egg layers. And we also have your standard industrial leghorns. They're the white leghorns. There's none behind me at the moment, but I'll show you some videos of them later. And then we have non-industrial leghorns, which are a heritage breed that are actually considered underneath the watch category with the Livestock Conservancy priority list. Now this means that if breeders were to lose interest in this breed, they could actually end up endangered or even extinct. So we have the contrast between the commercial breed of leghorns and then the non-industrial breed of leghorns, which is that heritage breed. There's one of those industrial leghorns. That's one of our non-industrial leghorns sunbathing. She's not dead, don't worry. And then we also have some others up there. There's a rooster up there. We have 2 roosters in our non-industrial flock, and they're used for breeding. And then we also have a couple different breeding programs with cochins, and I'll show you those now. So we have a very small cochin flock. We only have 4 adults and then 1 little pullet I'll show you in a minute. But this is our rooster. His name is Coach, like cochin. But we have these guys, again, for the heritage breeds. So they're actually considered watch also on the priority list. So again, they could be endangered if breeders lose interest. These guys are dual purpose breed. They lay lots of eggs throughout the year. Actually, they lay their most in the winter, which is interesting since most stop laying in the winter or minimize their egg laying in the winter. But these guys lay all the way through the winter. They're dual purpose, which means that they're used for those eggs and for their meat. And obviously, they've got lots of fluff on them, and that actually makes them an ornamental breed to some people, which there's a lot of people showing them now, which is good because it gets them out there, and the education aspect of that is great for a breed that could potentially become endangered if people lost interest. So the last cochins I showed you were of the standard variety. Now these are the bantam variety, so they're smaller. It's like putting the word mini in front of pig or dog or horse. They're just smaller. So these are the bantam variety that we have. We've got 3. We've got 2 roosters and 1 hen. This is the hen. Her name's Tafiti. She is one of our show birds. They actually all are. When we take them to shows, we use that to educate about these heritage breeds and why they're important. The bantam variety isn't necessarily a heritage or endangered breed, but they're a lot easier to use when you go to shows. They're a lot less scary to people who might be afraid of livestock or poultry especially. Chickens are scary to a lot of people, so their smaller size allows a lot of people to be more comfortable around them rather than the really big birds that I just showed you. Another thing I wanted to mention quickly is we actually are working on a hybrid breeding program between the industrial leghorns and then the non-industrial leghorns. And this hybrid, we're hoping to have a combination of both abilities or both traits that we like. So we want the water conserving of the industrial breed. They drink a lot less water than the non-industrials, and they also lay a lot more eggs yearly. So we want those traits from the industrial breed. Now from the non-industrial breed, we want their fertility ability and their foraging ability. Now to me personally, these traits are incredibly sustainable if they were all together in one bird. So we're trying to breed that into a hybrid bird. We're in our first generation, our F1 gen now, so hopefully within the next couple of years we'll perfected that breed and we'll have a happy medium leghorn breed that has all of those sustainable abilities that we can put out onto a sustainable foraging program, possibly with our cotton patch geese also. So our ultimate goal is to be sustainable, educational, and to be able to compare and contrast between heritage breeds and commercial breeds. I think it's very important for people to know the difference and why they're both important. The commercial breeds feed America, like the leghorn, and the heritage breeds, they're needed to keep around for genetic diversity. If at some point we find that our commercial breeds aren't able to breed naturally anymore and artificial insemination isn't working, such as with the broad-breasted white turkeys, they cannot naturally breed anymore. AI is working great for them now, but if for some reason that wasn't able to work in the future, we could breed in some of the heritage breeds that have that natural ability. It's just very important, I believe, that we have both of those breeds and that that people are educated about everything within the agriculture industry. So that's the purpose of our farm. I hope you like the videos, and that's most of the breeding that goes on here. We do have some other programs with Shetland sheep, and we also have some horses, but hopefully one day we'll have an educational farm where people can actually come and visit and be able to learn about these amazing breeds and how they all keep the industry of agriculture running. Thank you.